price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
Black first brothers and sisters, welcome to the Afro Elite YouTube channel. I am your host, Afro Elite. Before we get started, please make sure, put my phone up, please make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you do not miss out on any future content. Also, leave a thumbs up and share this on your various social media platforms. We are literally 300 subscribers away from 6,000 subscribers, and that's because of our teamwork. That's because of the fact that I do what I can to help get the content out, to make sure the content is good quality content, frequent content, on time, to the best of my ability. And you all do what you guys do as far as watching, liking, commenting, sharing, all that stuff. So it's the combination of all of that that really helps grow this channel. So I want to give a special shout out to every single last one of you all for doing that. Okay. And it's interesting. Torian is in the building. Shout out to our brother Torian. I haven't finished his video, but I was just watching. He just talked on this subject just like an hour ago. So actually, if you guys get a chance when you're done, you guys should go check out his video. But shout out to our brother Torian in the room. Cyberdon 100, brother 7, our sister darling Kiki, Simo 27, and we got other people in the room. So shout out to every single last one of you all, and a special thank you for all of the birthday wishes. I can't thank you guys enough for all of that. I mean, it was tremendous. You guys really showed how much you guys appreciate what I do and all the work I put in. So I'm very humbled and very grateful for that. Now, I want to pull this up real quick. The last thing, when I talked about Carolyn Bryant, I did say there were going to be people out here carrying water for her. There were going to be people out here defending her. There were going to be, oh, you say happy belated? Thank you. I said new sub. Thank you very much. I appreciate your subscription, brother. I said there were going to be people out here defending her, carrying water for her, trying to remix the story. So now what we're starting to see, and I'm going to start to explain this a little more. We're starting to see a lot of like the remix of that story, of her story, right? So check this out. We're not seeing people like openly defend her as Carolyn Bryant, but what we are seeing is people trying to give it a spin where she was not that bad of a person. Let me show you guys this, right? This is a tweet from some woman. Make it as big as possible so you guys can really see. Okay. Now, Reverend Reeler, okay, that's the cousin, and we're going to get to him right next. The very next thing, we're going to get to him. Reverend Reeler, a cousin of Till who was there, said Till whistled at the woman. Now, here it is. That doesn't warrant being lynched, but that's what we women call catcall. Okay. The men that killed Till should be blamed, not the woman that was harassed. All right, there goes your feminism. That's your feminism right here. Okay, let's get into that, because Emmett Till's treacherous cousin, Reverend Reeler, who has made his whole entire platform off the fact that he was Emmett Till's cousin. And he was one of the ones going around saying, well, Emmett, because there was always a bunch of speculation about, did Emmett Till really whistle, or was that a lie? Which actually it was a lie. He actually didn't whistle like that. Emmett Till had, in other documentaries, talked about this, and his mother talked about this as well. Emmett Till is he had like a speech impediment, and he would talk a little some way. He wasn't slow or unintelligent, but it was a small speech impediment. So sometimes he would make a whistling sound when he would speak. the story is he was whistling, kind of like flirting. First off, the story originally was he whistled and winked at her. Then it was like, okay, he didn't whistle and wink, he whistled and that was just it. But then when more documentaries came out and people talked about it, like, no, he just had kind of like a speech impediment, so he probably was talking or saying hello, being polite or something, because it was the thing, he said hello to her because she was working, and he was just saying hello, and it might have came out that way. So that's what other documentaries and stuff like that explain. Emmett Till's cousin was like, well, yeah, he did whistle though. He did whistle. So she's saying that, okay, yeah, he whistled. Yeah, that was bad. But I mean, she's saying that the 14-year-old Emmett Till harassed Carolyn Bryant, who was 21 at the time. And they were like, oh, she was the victim. She was the one who was being harassed. Okay. First off, Emmett Till did not harass anybody. If whistling is a justification for some child being lynched, then I don't know what type of world we live in. We live in a world where this is racism. That's what that is. This is racism disguised as feminism. We have to understand a lot of this stuff is just pure, plain white supremacy disguised as feminism. What she is trying to do is she is trying to point the finger at Emmett Till and say, you know, Emmett Till I'm not saying it was right what happened to him, but he was kind of wrong, though. And to take the pressure off of Carolyn Bryant, who lied and who was not the victim whatsoever. And she said, oh, it's the women. She has to throw the men under the bus. But she's doing that only to protect Carolyn Bryant, not because she's a woman, but because she's white. So that's why she's trying to make Emmett Till kind of look bad. So this is racism. This is not even feminism or anything like that. Feminism, racism are one and the same. Exactly. Davis, B. Davis. Exactly. They're the same thing. Now, if you guys thought that was messed up, if you guys thought that was egregious, you guys won't believe. Not this. Hold on. Where is it? This right here. I'm going to read it to you guys. I'm going to do like this as best as I can. Make sure I can zoom in so you guys can really see. Now, her name is Tiffany Women for Women. Okay. She says, people have so much to say about this story without even knowing the basic information about it. Number one, she did not tell the murderers anything about Emmett Till. Now, I'm going to stop it after I'm all the way done. She did not tell the murderers anything about Emmett Till. A witness at the store told her husband, and he, a violent and aggressive man, already furious with her for not telling him, which she didn't do specifically because she quite rightfully feared he'd go after Emmett Till. Number two, the murderers stated that they killed him for, quote, ugly remarks, and made no mention of any sort of physical contact. This is important because and then she says number two. I mean, you can clearly tell this woman is a damn illiterate. She said, first off, it was a grammatical error in the first paragraph. That's what kind of slipped me up. And then this is number two again. I don't know if she knows what comes after number two because she wrote it down twice. You're not supposed to do that. But number two, I guess, again. Emmett Till was, in all caps, already murdered when she lied on the stand about him physically touching her. Testimony the jury did not get to hear. Okay. In which it had been concluded that she was instructed to say by her defense team. Then here she goes. I am in no way excusing her lying under oath about the extent of what happened that day, but her lies did not, all caps, did not get Emmett Till killed. What they did was justify extreme racism after the fact and fed into an anti-black narrative about black men being luxurious towards white women. Now, you can be furious at her white tears or whatever you like, but please do remember to spare some of your vitriol and hatred for the white men, in this all caps men, who made up the jury. Women and minorities were banned from jury consideration for this trial, who acquitted the white men who actually murdered Emmett Till, and then sold and slandered confession of his torture and murder for 4,000 to Look magazine after double jeopardy laws made it impossible to retry them for the crime. But no, of course, men can never be accountable for their actions. It's always the fault of women. And then she puts the rolling eye emoji there. Now, I'm going to stop it right here. We're going to clear up some things. And then we're going to get to some of the comments. We're going to get to some of the comments here. Number one, she did tell her husband about it. The whole thing is she with the story of, I didn't tell my husband, it was somebody I worked with who saw it, and then that person ran to tell my husband. I didn't tell my husband. She said that way after her husband had died. That was not the original story. She said that way after her husband had died in that interview she did in the 2000s. I think it was 2008, when she tried to do an interview when she was trying to make money off of it. She was like, "Oh, I didn't really do nothing. I didn't tell my husband about it. I was trying to protect Emmett Till." So that was her lying and remixing the story. She did tell him. Not only did she tell her husband about it, when her husband and his brother picked Emmett Till up after they kidnapped Emmett Till and bought Emmett Till to her, they asked her specifically, was this the boy? Was this the boy who did that? And she said yes. She pointed him out. So you can tell that based off of what she's saying, oh, she knew that her husband, who was already violent and aggressive and all that stuff, which, okay, so what? We know he has to be to do that type of act. But she did lie. She did help him do that. Okay. He kidnapped, even if let's say she didn't have any idea at all what her husband would do when she found out that this little boy whistled at her. Let's say she had no clue whatsoever what her husband might have did. The second her husband bought Emmett Till in the middle of the night, because they picked him up that night. They bought him in the middle of the night back to his house, kidnapped, tied up, and said, "Is that the boy?" And she said, "Yes, that's the boy." What did she think was going to happen then? Because she's trying to make it seem like, yeah, she lied, but she had actually nothing to do with the murder. That's what this the woman on Twitter is trying to say. She lied, but she only lied on the stand. Her telling the truth had nothing to do with the murder, because Emmett Till was dead by that time anyway. But her lying, first off, the lying about the whistling, because she did tell him, that was, everybody knew that all the way up until 2008, where she said a different story, then recanted, told a whole bunch of different stories left and right. Everybody knew, and she admitted that she told her husband. Then she said she didn't, but everybody knew she did. And then when her husband brought her to them, she lied. Now, is she telling the truth about the all-white jury and all white men jury and all that stuff? Yes, she did. Okay. Now the thing is that we as Black society, because we're the only ones who have any bit of an issue with the Emmett Till thing, no other group of people do, but we as Black society, we have always had smoke for Emmett Till, the men who did it too. The reason why we put Carolyn Bryant as the face of the whole situation is, number one, she started it. If she didn't do what she did, it would have never happened to him. That's the number one reason. Number two, there's always this narrative that the white man is evil and the white woman is just a victim of his evil. The white woman is like the sidekick to his evil to a degree. And with the Carolyn Bryant situation, that's a very big nationwide situation that we all know of, where the white woman was the one who started the evil action. That is the reason. So those are two reasons. And then number three is that a reason why a lot of white women lie on black men. The whole narrative of, oh, black men love white women, we can't get enough of white women, all that stuff. A lot of that is lies. So those are the three reasons why Carolyn Bryant is the face. And if we're going to do a fourth reason, is because by the 90s, both the men had died. The brother J.W. William, or J.W. Millam, whatever his name is, he had died in 1980. Okay, that's 25 years after that. Her husband, Roy Bryant, died in 1994. That's 38 years after that. So by the early 2000s and stuff, especially when, you know, technology was starting to really become a thing, people kept noticing, like, damn, okay, she's not dead, she's just walking around. By the time people really started speaking up on this story in documentaries, that's the thing, by the time the documentaries started being made about the Emmett Till story, everybody was looking like, damn, but she's still alive though. She's never been locked up for it though. A lot of times when you talk about crime documentaries, either the person's already been locked up or the person's dead. So that's why people had put that on Carolyn Bryant, for those reasons. It's not because men or society always blames women for the actions of men. It's not none of that misogyny stuff. All right, but let's check out some of the comments. Now, some of the comments did, you know, drag her justifiably. Wait, before we do that, hold on. Before we do that, let me give a shout out to the $20 super chat from Christopher Ellis. He says, appreciate your tireless work, brother. Thank you very much. I am very humbled that you gave me this super chat. And I appreciate the fact that you're here, because you don't have to be here, but you're here. And I greatly appreciate that, brother. Thank you. Now let's get, oh damn, I just closed the thing. Hold on. I want to show you guys some of the comments. Now she turned some of the comments off, where you can only comment if, I guess, she gives you permission or something like that. I don't know. But we're going to look at some of the comments about it, right? Now, okay, Nia, okay. She's trying to say, yeah, she's not a but this is some of the comments. Now I'm gonna, because there was a couple ones in between. Look, this person says, love your tweet. Look, first off, look at how many likes it got. It got almost 2,000 likes. Now the quote tweets is tearing her ass up, but she got a few people liking it, and we're gonna see these feminists right here. Down here it says, I love your tweets. Thank you for this one. This sounds the most believable account I have heard, and frankly, it makes perfect sense. She says, thank you for reading. I know long stories aren't popular on Twitter, but I feel the context is necessary. When it's so popular and easy for people to hate women and feel a free pass to the men around them, and give a free pass to the men around her. First off, nobody hates women. It was specifically Carolyn Bryant. Now, that she is the only person anybody is hating on. And a whole bunch of black women hate Carolyn Bryant too. So it's not like anybody is saying this is all women or anything like that. Her problem is the fact that she views herself as a woman first. Her being a woman, her womanhood comes before her blackness. This is why I say it's very important for us to be black first. If a person is around you and they're not black first, they're pretty much everything else first. That means they put their blackness at the bottom. If you're not black first, then your blackness is at the bottom. That's really what it is. Because anytime you run across somebody who's not black first, they put their gender, their sexuality, their political status, their class, whatever the case is, if that's a priority to them over their blackness, then that means that they pretty much have their blackness at the bottom. Okay. And that also means that they hate their blackness. You can almost not find a case where that's not the case. Okay. Then here comes the white women talking about how much they love it. Oh, never knew most of this. Just heard of that woman, and that's all. And that was all down to her. So yeah, the white women sitting up there loving this. Oh yeah, save the image of white women. Now you got people. Do you have any proof of this? If she doesn't, because she just made it up. And then see, she doesn't even back up her sources. She's talking about, I feel confident you can make a better argument than this. He asked for proof. He or she, this says brother, he asked for proof. He didn't make an argument. He asked, do you have proof? That's not an argument. You're the one who made the statement as if it was fact. So you're the one, the burden of proof is on you, not the person who's asking for the proof. Okay. Now, here's this, here's the thing right here. It says, I didn't know any of the details. First off, I just debunked all this before I went in. Okay. I didn't know any of the details. Thank you for sharing. Women will do a lot of things when they are scared of their husband. So the whole narrative that they're trying to flip this thing is that Carolyn Bryant is a victim of her husband. Her husband was the one who did all of this, and she was out here being abused and mistreated, and all of this negative and terrible stuff was happening to Carolyn Bryant. So she's the one who needs to be protected. That's what she was saying. Okay, hold on, because I'm gonna send some stuff, because there's a whole lot we got to go. And then she says it absolutely is. She should have confessed her lies when her husband died, but instead it wasn't until 2008 that she gave the Till family closure. She did not give the Till family any closure. She gave the Till family closure that their 14-year-old didn't inappropriately touch a 21-year-old married woman. Either way, it wouldn't have saved him. So she's trying to say, like, yeah, whether she told the truth or not, it didn't matter, because it wouldn't have saved him anyway. He would have died anyway, is what she's saying. Now, this one right here, somebody, asking, okay, look, and you see, here's the white women again. The white women sitting up there, they love the fact that a black woman did this, or supposedly black woman did this, because now they can sit up there and big her up, like, oh my God, yes, feminism, and this is just racism. Damn, I'm trying to send this one particular video. It's not loading fast enough. She says, this is so interesting. I only knew, quote, the evil white woman story. Thank you for giving me the full picture. And then she says, never blindly trust evil woman story if there's a male accomplice. The way men throw their wives under the bus is a goddamn shame. Okay. And you see all the likes she got? All the likes she got. Now, here's something very interesting. This person, when I found out it was a known fact her husband was abusive towards her, I figured something like this was the true story. It kind of makes me sick to think about this satisfaction it would give her husband to know she carries the blame to her grave and beyond. Then she says, to this day, people don't care about his name. It's not his memory tarnished. And he's the murderer. The thing is that people do. Everybody cares about what he did. Is like I said, those points. Hold on for 1 second, y'all. Let me send this, because there's a whole lot of other stuff that I saw that I need to send to myself. Couldn't find earlier. So check this one out, though. At the bottom, from this person, Emmett Till's father violated multiple women. And then she goes on to say, and murder. Don't forget he allegedly killed a woman too. And yet he has absolutely nothing to do with Emmett Till's brutal murder. Okay. I've never heard of that. And you know, a white supremacist will easily lie. So you know you can't take their word for anything. Let me, if I can only send. No, hold on. I'm trying to send this stuff to myself. But as you can see, what they're doing is they're trying to remix the story. And they're trying to say, okay, I got it. I got it sent to myself now. I got to download. Oh boy, I got to do all this downloading and sending it and all that stuff. But it's okay. I do it for y'all. Anything for y'all is none for y'all is too much. Nothing for y'all is too much, not in my opinion. But I'm going to show you guys this because I saw another is these feminists out here with a lot of hatred they have for black men specifically. This 14-year-old was murdered, and they're sitting up there trying to say, oh no, don't blame Carolyn Bryant, who's the whole reason why all of this stuff happened in the first place. Talking about they gave her closure. Hold on, let me check. Let me show you guys this on my computer. Oh my God, man. Come on. Okay. Gotta find this stuff. All right. Where did those videos go? Those pictures? Oh boy. Hold on. I'm trying to find it. I don't know what happened to it. What the hell? You know, it's fine. I know what to do now. I know what I'm gonna do now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up, hold on for 1 second, a new window, because I don't want y'all seeing all this stuff in my email. That's too much. So check this out, right? This and another feminist right here. Let me zoom in for you guys and read. This is the caption. She says, Carolyn's husband, Roy Bryant, was on an extended trip hauling shrimp to Texas and did not return until August 27th. Historian Timothy Thompson said an investigation by civil rights activists concluded Carolyn Bryant did not initially tell her husband, Roy Bryant, about the encounter with Till, and that Roy was told by a person who hung around down the store. Roy was repeatedly angry at his wife for not telling him. Carolyn Bryant told the FBI she did not tell her husband because she feared he would assault Till. Now, that's what they're saying, but let me tell you guys, that does not make any sense, because if she actually feared that her husband would do anything, if she wanted to protect him or whatnot, first off, she would have easily said, that's not what happened. He didn't whistle. When he confronted her about it, she would have lied and said, oh, well, first off, she would have told the truth because it wasn't. She would have said that didn't happen anyway. And then when he bought her Till, she pointed him out and said, yes, that is him. When he kidnapped her, him. So she did 100% know what was going to happen. This whole thing that they're trying to remix the story like she had no idea what her demonic evil ass husband was going to do is not the truth. Now, going up, then this woman says, y'all completely misunderstood that thread. She was calling out the sexism in the whole thing and how a woman is usually as usual has been blamed for the actions of men for centuries. In a country, this woman was vilified for his death when, according to historians, she actually tried to protect him. That is a lie. And you're starting to see these feminists come out here trying to tell this lie that Carolyn Bryant was actually out there trying to defend, trying to lie, trying to cover for him, is just the evil husband. And this is not giving a pass to Roy Bryant or his brother. This is not giving a pass to them at all. All three of them should have been punished. All three of them should have been locked up. Okay. We're not, we're not gonna do that whole she was the victim and she lied. So that's what they're saying right now. Check this out. Hold on, where's the other thing? Damn. Right here, look at this right here. Now she must have deleted this because I bookmarked this and I couldn't see it. That's why I screen saved it, because I knew she was going to delete this. She says, let's be clear, I am woman first, because people were talking about, damn, you kind of betraying black people and all that stuff. She said, I am a woman first, all caps, woman first, as any sensible black woman should be. Because last I checked, white women are not, all caps, not the ones out here are violating and murdering black women and girls like effing animals daily, or sliding with the white man, or siding with the white man to strip women of their rights in bodily autonomy. Okay, so she's talking about damn abortion. She's talking about abortion, how black men, some black men and black women. And here's one thing about the abortion thing. They swear to God that abortion is a man versus woman issue, and they completely ignore all the women who are against abortion. They act like women, there is no woman in the world who is against abortion, and the only people who are against abortion are men. That I swear to God, that's what they act like. But that has nothing to do, because white women are not out here violating women and murdering black women on the day. Okay, all right. Okay. Now the thing is that, take this off the screen. The thing is that white men do that to their women on the daily basis, on the regular basis. And this not justifying that at all. That's wrong. That's wrong for any man to do to a woman, period, whether it's their women, another group of women, period. Men, bad men who do that to their women. And most of the time they do that to their women of their own race. Okay. You don't see white women sitting up there not putting their whiteness first. They will say they put their womanhood first. That's a lie. They put their race first. Chinese women put their race first. Every other woman puts their race first. It's only these black feminists who hate the fact that they're black. These black feminists, if they could go to sleep and wake up white, they would do it. They hate their blackness, so that's why they attack it so much, is because of their own self-hatred for their own blackness. Talking about, I'm a woman first. So to her, if you guys really break it down, to her, in her mind, she has a more allyhood. She has more in common with Carolyn Bryant than she does with Emmett Till. That's what she just told you. When she says, I'm a woman first and I'm here to defend women and talk about all the stuff men do to women, she's looking at it like, okay, Emmett Till, but he's a man. I'm on the woman's side. Okay. This is why I say it's so very important. You have got to be black first. If you're not black first, then you're putting your blackness last. Let me see. Shout out to the $15, the $20, I'm sorry, super chat. He says happy. Antitha says happy birthday, Afro. Keep the content coming. I definitely will. Thank you very much for being here, sister. I appreciate it. Yeah, sex and orientation before race, and you see what type of person this is when somebody tells you, "Oh, I'm a woman before I'm black." You see the type of evilness that leads to. That it's not like being a woman and being black is like almost here, and being a woman is like right up here, is just a little bit more prioritized. To them, being a woman, they use that as like a way to escape their blackness. That's what they use that as. There's something else. If this video would ever finish. Now, I showed you guys, hold on. I showed you guys the unveiling of a statue. I'm going to show it to you guys. Before we get to it, let me get to it right now. If you guys haven't seen, on my Twitter page, I posted a statue that was taken of Mammy Till. Okay, and I barely caught it. So I'm going to show it to you guys. And to be honest, I'm not hating. I think it's a good statue. And I'm going to explain why in a second. I think the statue was really good. And I'm going to explain why. But there's problems that I saw that day. Okay. So this was the statue. This is the statue of Mammy Till. Scroll down. And then, hold on. Because I couldn't get the whole thing like I wanted. So then I took this. Okay. We are only given a certain amount of time to do what we are sent here to do. You don't have to be around a long time to share the wisdom of a lifetime. There is no time to waste. Okay. And then the full thing. Now, a statue is cool. And the work that she did is not spoke up enough, in my opinion. The work that she did was not spoke up enough, in my opinion. Here's my problem. And somebody beat me to it. It's symbolism. That's my problem. It was symbolism. My problem is the fact that Black people, she died without seeing her the killers, the murderers of her son get punished. She died without seeing that. Okay. She died knowing that people brutally kidnapped, murdered, tortured her son, and never faced any sort of punishment for it. They were able to live their lives. They all died of cancer, but they were able to just live their lives to the fullest and died of natural causes. And society allowed that to happen. The government, the local and the federal government, just allowed that to happen, and she never saw any justice. So then after everything is said and done, then they're going to make a statue. I don't like making statues of, and this is like a twisted psychological thing, how white supremacy does. They'll make a statue of Mammy Till, and no disrespect to Mammy Till at all, but they'll make a statue of her once they know everybody got away with it. Now that everybody got away with it, oh my God, let's put a statue. She was so strong, such a strong woman. It's so incredible. And then they have a statue of her. And this is really, we have to understand what a backhanded compliment is. And the dominant society loves to do that. And I'm not saying it's a bad, I think it's a good statue. The statue is good, and she should be honored because she did do a lot of work for the people, for making, just the fact that she had an open casket, to be honest. I don't know if a lot of people know that she was advised to close the casket. And she said, no, she wants to have an open casket because she wants the world to see what they did to him. Okay. So that would, and Emmett Till, because it happened in 1955, Emmett Till was really the match that lit the civil rights movement anyway. So just her making that one decision pretty much changed Black history and the course that Black history went in. Because if she did a closed casket, we don't know what the result of it wouldn't have really hit the same way, as we would have never known what he looked like. So it wouldn't have hit the same way as seeing an open casket. So much respect to her. No, this is not a disrespectful thing, but this is saying, okay, you guys are going to give her the runaround. You guys are, because she died in 2003. That wasn't too long ago. So you guys are going to give her the runaround. She's going to spend all this time, almost 50 years, trying to get justice for her son, and you guys protect her. You guys not let that happen. You guys hide Carolyn Bryant. You guys hide the family, hide everything. And then when she passes away, you guys make a statue talking about how great of a woman she was. That's a backhanded compliment. That's a backhanded compliment. I don't really like that. Okay. And then I was there for the statue unveiling, right? It says, yeah, you saw the I'm gonna be honest. That open casket was a little bit too much for some people. It was a lot for some people to see the before and after of Emmett Till. That was a lot. Okay. And she was advised not to do that. Too many people don't know she was advised not to do that, to not have an open casket. Hold on, let me see something. I'm trying to get this one particular video to play. Oh, come on. Let me see. Hold on, let me see something. I gotta download this. Oh my goodness. It's always something. But looking at, look, no, we're not gonna do the whole, you guys allow a black person to suffer. And this is something that the dominant society does, is they allow black people to suffer and in pain, and then they make a statue of the person after everything is all said and done, as if their pain and the suffering that they went through and the injustice is somehow noble, as if they're recognizing, oh, what was done to them was wrong, and as if their injustice was noble when they didn't get justice. When they prevented you guys from getting justice, they'll give you a trophy for accepting the fact that you are a victim. It's a trophy of victimhood. Okay. That's like if you're in a race and somebody cheats, somebody gives the other person a head start, or they cheat or whatever, and they won the race, but they'll give you a participation trophy. That's condescending. That's condescending, because, and that's not a disrespect to her, but that's condescending, and I don't like that. Let me see if I get this thing up. I can pull this up because I want to show you, because when I was there, we're talking about how they try to remix the come on, hold on. Okay, hold on. I almost have it. We're talking about, did it download? Okay, hold on. Boy, my computer is something else, right? That's not it. Where is this? Because I was there, and somebody did an opening speech. Okay. Oh, it's okay. That's where it is. I had to find it. Y'all gotta forgive me, y'all. My computer's doing a little bit too much right now. Y'all gotta forgive me. Let me see something. Trying to share the video. First off, it took too long to download in the first place. But look at this.
And I came here.
Now, I don't know who this guy is, but check this out.
And I joined a church that started Emmett Till's grandmother and named his house, 1926. And we were people of faith. They said, how can you forgive? That was the main subject in the church. If you don't forgive, God don't forgive you.
Right, look, he said, how could you forgive? That's the main subject in the church. If you don't forgive, God don't forgive you.
And I practice that, and I get criticized for that, but it's a good thing to get criticized for. Make sure you get criticized for something good, not something bad.
Yeah, I figured that was. I didn't get close enough. He had a name tag. He had a name tag on, and I'm all like, I couldn't get close enough, but it looks like his cousin based off of the pictures, right? Because Emmett Till's family was there. I figured that's who it was. That's Parker. Yeah, I figured it was him, but I can't say it because then we're like, no, actually, that's his other cousin. But that's the Parker, and I'm gonna show you a quote from Parker also.
So I think about this, and I think about Mamie. She attended the Frederick Argo High School. I graduated Argo High School in Selma. Emmett Till went to Argo School. His dad went to Argo School. We have a lot of legacy here. And I just want to thank everyone for coming out. And there's so much you can say in such a short time. But the Hill family is still real big in Summit, Illinois. I want to thank the mayor and everyone who has contributed, made this what it is. One thing I'm pushing for now. I talked to the local newspaper in Greenwood, Mississippi. We need to take Mamie Till's reconciliation speech. If you haven't heard it, you need to hear it. See how she feels. She made it in 2003. And in 2003, she said, God took hate out of my life 47 years ago. She said, I have no hate. Those people who did this to my son, she says, like they don't exist. You got to hear that speech. I said, we need to send it to the world, not just America. You can't afford hate. You can't afford the luxury of hate. Hate destroys the hater.
So all it is, forgive, forgive, forgive. Hate destroys the hater. All of this. Now, first off, so you guys know, Mamie Till did not, if you, and I've looked the speech up, that was like the last public speech she did before she died. She did say, let me actually take this off. Let me take this off for 1 second. She said that God took hate out of her heart. She said that. Okay. And let's talk about that for a second. The reason why I feel that she said that, and the reason why I'm going to give her a pass for saying that, is because when what happened to her son, she was on a crusade to get justice for him. Justice that she never saw. Okay, she went to court, she did all of the legal stuff she had to do, and she never saw any justice. And it used to eat at her. She said in the speech that she didn't want to live anymore. Now, if we're going to get deep, we all have family members, family or close friends, okay, who are not here, that we grew up with or that we found in our lifetime. We love them and they're not here with us anymore, whether that's your parents, your grandparents, a sibling, a spouse, even maybe your kid. Okay, so that's very hurtful, that's very painful to deal with. Okay, so you can only imagine what she had to deal with, not only knowing that her only son, she only had one kid, her only son died at 14 but was murdered, and the murderers just got to go away scot-free. That ate at her, and she talked about that in the documentary she did before she did her final speech. That would eat at her every time she would think about it, and she still tried to get justice pretty much up until she died. Now, before, she was all like, you know what, I have to let this hate go for her own psychological peace of mind. She didn't talk about forgiving. In that speech, she never once said she forgives them. She was like, yeah, I don't have any hatred. I'm not upset. She's not, pretty much what she said is she's not going to let hate consume her. I would have took hatred to the grave personally. I would have did that. I don't have any kids, and that's never happened to anybody that I know personally. So I can't say that she was wrong for saying that or whatever. If she had to say that for her own peace of mind, just so she can sleep at night, then for her alone, I will give that specific pass. Okay, even though I don't think she should have said that, because now you can see how it's starting to get twisted up, right? Where Wheeler is talking about, oh, she forgave, just like we should forgive. Everybody should forgive, right? That's that stuff. So he was wrong when he's talking about how she forgave anybody, because she never said she forgave her, Carolyn Bryant. She never said she forgave Roy or JW. She never said she forgave them. She never said she didn't want them to be punished. She never said that. She said she let the hate go. And you can think of what you want to think of that. All right. Personally, man, I don't think in this situation I'm in the perfect place to judge, but personally, I wouldn't have did that personally. But let's continue with what this sellout coon had to say.
Destroys the hatred. Can you imagine going home to hate all the hate society?
Now, hate destroys the hater.
She said, I have no hate. Those people who did this to my son, she says, like they don't exist. You got to hear that speak. I said, we need to send it to the world, not just America. You can't afford hate. You can't afford the luxury of hate. Hate destroys the hater. Hate destroys the hater. Can you imagine going home to hate all the hate society? I said, hey, hallelujah, praise the Lord. Hey. You don't want to be around people like that. And we just thank God for Sonia. Sonia, you did an excellent job. Sonia, I have to be fair with you. We saw your work and we saw your mentors' work. Your mentors' work were great. I said, I think we need you to get the mentors to do this job. Of course, I wasn't there when they decided. God bless me for not being there, and they selected you. With that, I'm going to close out.
At this time, I invite Dr. Marvell Parker to come forward. Also, Ms. Sonia Henderson to come forward, please, for the unveiling of the monument.
Okay, so that's them walking up, and then that's them, hold on, let me put it back. That's them, taking the stuff off the monument. Okay. Now you already saw what the monument looks like. Okay. But see, now this is why I'm gonna be honest, and I'm not trying to beat up on anybody's faith, anybody's religion, anything. But this is why a lot of people, even people who are Christian, are kind of turning away from certain churches, from going to the church or believing in a lot of these pastors, because we have to think, even Dr. King was talking about this. Pastors used to have a lot of respect and reverence within the Black community. Dr. King was talking about the fact that, hey, the way y'all pastors are going, and this isn't a beat up on Christianity, but the way the pastors are heading to, the people, the youth are not going to have the same respect and reverence for you guys. The youth are going to turn away, because you guys are turning away from the youth. He's sitting up there. He doesn't want to be attacked by the dominant society. So he's going out there and he's standing side by side next to the mayor, who is that white man, so you guys know, but standing side by side to the mayor, talking about, I forgive. I forgive. She forgave. You don't want to go back, home to a hating family and a hating this and a hating that, and joking and laughing and all of that stuff. And that's the thing that makes the unveiling of the statue so sour, and it could have been, to be honest, that if we could go back a few years ago, this unveiling of a statue could have been a beautiful moment in Black history. If they would have locked her up, she would have died in prison, and then they would have had a statue. I feel like that would have been a good W, but that's not what happened. She was able to live her life all the way up until natural causes took her out. And then they're talking about, before they unveiled the statue, they're talking about, well, guys, come on, we got to forgive. She talked about forgiving, right? Hold on, let me see. Somebody made a good comment I was reading. Patricia Slade said, Mammy still didn't say she forgave the murderer. She did not say that. And nowhere did she say she forgave anybody. She didn't say she forgave the murderers. She didn't forgive the government. She didn't forgive the president, the jury, the judge, nobody. She never said she forgave anybody. Okay, so we can stop that. And then she took the hate out of her heart because it can be debilitating. It really can be. You can really become consumed with that, and that can be one of the things that like take you out of this world early. That can hurt your health. That can hurt your mental health. It can be debilitating for you, and you can imagine the justified hatred she would have. Okay, it can have you thinking of taking yourself out of life. Like it can be very bad for you to have that. So that's what she said. She said she took that out. She didn't say she forgave anybody. Okay, I want to be very, very clear with that. Okay, but she did not forgive the murderers. Her family is going for the bag. Yeah, they are. What the family is going to try to do, and she's exactly right. What the family is going, what he's trying to do, because he's always done that. He's always did that where he feels like, okay, I can be in documentaries. He's been in multiple documentaries, multiple interviews. Oh, you're the last cousin to see him alive. What was Emmett Till like? What was he like and everything? And he talked about, I saw him on one of the documentaries. He talked about how Till was kind of flirty, how he was flirty back in Chicago, because that's where Till was really from, Chicago. And when he's flirty and he did whistle. So Reverend Parker tried to paint the story in the same way that the white supremacists are painting it. He is side by side telling the same story that they're telling because he wants to get the bag. He wants to get those donations. He wants to seem like, oh, I get to walk around and parade the fact that I'm Emmett Till's cousin and white people are not going to do nothing to me because I'm holding up the lie that Emmett Till was the bad guy. Look at some of the other comments we have. Tyrone says, everybody talks about how nice it was to eliminate hate. No one discusses the real issue, who is the cause of the hatred. That is the root of hatred. Yeah. You don't want to live with hate. Good point. Let's get rid of the reason why she would be hateful in the first place. Oh, it's so noble to get rid of hate. It's so noble to get rid of hate. Thank you guys. As if it's not an issue, it's not a priority for them to change. They come to black people like, oh, isn't forgiveness so godly? God doesn't allow you to go to heaven unless you forgive him. You know that, right? You're not going to be allowed to go to heaven unless you forgive him. They don't say, God's not going to let you go to heaven if you don't stop being damn racist. They're not saying that. They're saying, oh, to black people, come on. I know you're the victim, but you got to forgive. That's the only way you get to go to heaven. And that's the thing. I don't believe a 14-year-old whistled at a grown woman, especially back then. First off, that's true. This is the 1950s. This is the mid 1950s. Emmett Till just became 14. He was a child. Emmett Till was a child. She is a grown woman that he does not know. That's the first time they ever seen each other. Back then, talk about the first woman to catcall him. Back then that wasn't no thing where no kid would talk to an adult in any type of flirtatious type of way at all. Emmett Till's mother said that Emmett Till was a very friendly and polite person who liked to talk to people. Okay, so when he was there, he was just saying, I guess, hello or goodbye or something, and that it came off like a whistle or something like that. That's what that was. It was she lied on the stand, said that Emmett Till touched her too, which then she recanted the story. So Emmett Till, he whistled, he touched, he winked and all that stuff. All of that was a lie. All of it was a lie. And it doesn't make sense for him to do it like that anyway. It says, what's flirty and being nice? Being nice can be considered flirty when it's not more than being courteous. What's flirty? The thing is that he was just first off, he was, whether he did or didn't doesn't justify anything. Let's get that very clear. And he was a kid. At the end of the day, he was a child. That's it. All right. Nothing could have justified that whatsoever. I'm looking through some of the comments now. This is something, and it's to a degree, and this is going to be tough to say. But to a degree, this is something that happens when you do not. Yeah, it's going to be tough to say. But this is something that happens when you are unprepared for what your environment is going to be. This is what happens because Emmett Till is from Chicago or whatnot. So he's used to just talking to anybody. Okay. Chicago's very segregated. It's always been, especially back then. So he's used to, black people just, hey, how you doing, sir? How are you, ma'am? And all that stuff. He's not really used to interacting with white people. So when he comes down south and he goes into that store or whatnot, and he said, oh, how are you? Or something like that. Or he comes across her. He's talking to her like she's just a regular person. I'm not saying that they didn't give him the talk about, okay, look, to white people, you stay as far away from them as possible. Don't say nothing to them. Don't look at them. Don't do nothing. When he's out there and he's unprepared at 14 and he's unprepared thinking he can just talk to anybody the way he talks to black people, that's the situation that he wound up being in. And this is not to victim blame at all, but this is to say that when it comes to certain situations, you have to prepare your kids for those types of situations. Yeah, the family is from Chicago. So growing up where he grew up in Chicago, he didn't grow up around a lot of white people. So he probably didn't have, and I'm just putting this together. I'm not saying the mother said this or anybody, but he probably didn't have those many experiences at the age 14 with interacting with white people because Chicago is so segregated. So at that time, he was only going to like black schools, black stores, black this. This is before integration. It was only black people. So he's looking at everybody like everybody is everybody type stuff, right? So when he goes to Mississippi and everything, he still has that kind of mentality. Like, hey, I'm polite in Chicago. I'm gonna be polite in Mississippi, right? That's what he's thinking. So, and like I said, this is not to justify what had happened to him, but this is to say, there does need to be, especially when you're moving and you're going different places and stuff like that, and your children are going to be in different environments, you have to let him know, especially during that time. You got to let him know, hey, don't say hello to him. Don't say hello, goodbye, how are you? Don't say nothing to him. Yeah, it says also back when according to my mom, who grew up in the 1950s, Georgia, whenever you talk to a white person, you had to look down at their feet. Exactly. Back during that time, you could not make eye contact with a white person. Back in that, and that's the thing, when you're not from that environment, when all you're around is black people don't treat other black people, don't treat anybody, but don't treat other black people like that. So everybody is very friendly, everybody's very neighborly and loving and caring as a community. So you look at an older person, you say, hello, sir, just out of respect. Hello, ma'am, out of respect. To a white person, you can't look at them and say that. You can't look at them face to face. Okay. Back during that time, white children weren't even allowed to call black adults sir and ma'am. Okay. That's where the uncle and all that stuff comes from. If you want to know where that stereotype comes from, a lot of that comes from the fact that they weren't allowed to call you sir. A white kid was not allowed to call an adult sir, a black adult sir or ma'am. Okay. It would be black adults would have to refer to white children as sir and ma'am. A grown black adult old enough to be the kid's father or mother would have to refer to a white kid as a sir or a ma'am. So it's a very, very different environment from where Till was actually from. It would be back in the day, if you're walking on the sidewalk and a white person is walking in the opposite direction, you would have to cross the street and walk on the other side of the sidewalk. You weren't even allowed to walk on the same side of the sidewalk that they were allowed to walk in. Okay. So it was a very, very different environment from where he was from. So in a way, he was not prepared. He was not, gamed up and ready to deal with that environment. So when he went there, it was he wasn't being flirty. He wasn't being flirty. He was being friendly. Okay, that's what was really going on. It says no, who are you talking about? I'm 62 kid from Detroit. No, what is going? It's always people going at each other in the chat room. I don't even know what's going on. Okay, let me see. So what I'm trying to say is that, and this isn't to say Chicago's not racist. This isn't to say Chicago is not racist at all. But this is to say you have to very early on, and I talked about this before, very early on, the second your kid is old enough to comprehend, you have to let them know the environment that they are in. We have seen too many instances, and I'm not saying live in fear, but you've seen too many instances of parents acting like, okay, I want my kid, because they know racism is so harsh, they don't want to teach it to them. I want my kid to grow up being a kid, and then once they reach that adulthood, I'm a lace them up with the game of what racism really is. That's a bad way to parent. And I understand you don't want your kid to grow up with the psychological, thing that, man, the world hates me because I'm black. No parent wants to teach that to their kid. And I fully understand why you don't want to teach. That's not something that you want to teach your kid. But that is the way the world is. That is what you have to do to prepare them for the world. Okay. And this is not a fault on Mammy Till at all, but this is what you have to do to prepare them for the world. So when they're around in different neighborhoods, when they're around all white friends, how many times, let's be honest, do we see black people and they have all white friends, and then all of a sudden that black person just goes missing and nobody's in custody, nobody's investigated? There was this one black woman who went to a slumber party, all white girls. She's the only black girl at the slumber party. She's the only non-white person and the only black girl at the slumber party. They found she was murdered, she was killed, and the police like, oh well, I don't know what happened. I think they found her outside in the backyard dead, and nobody was ever charged for that. Nobody was ever charged. There was another black person not too long ago, a Jamaican cat, who was around a whole bunch of white people. They went camping. Why you did that, who knows, camping or hiking or whatever. He wound up being shot, okay, a couple times and died. Nobody knows what happened, and nobody is charged. Okay, I can give you time and time again of black people not having the game, not being aware of their environment, not being aware of their surroundings, thinking that everything is everything, and they're around a whole bunch. They're the only black, they're the token Negro, and they think that everything is safe for them because the crowd around them really likes them. And then something happens to them, they either go missing or or something happens or they're dead, and nobody gets punished for it. Okay. And this is not to victim blame anybody, but this is to say that's because they were not prepared from their childhood. They were not bred from their childhood to be aware of certain things, of certain signs. Okay, I'm not saying go around with a hood over yourself, being all paranoid, like oh my God. I don't know. Don't be paranoid. But if you are aware of the world of white supremacy, you can adapt to your environment. So we have to teach the children. We have to teach the youth. So stuff like this stops happening. Okay, we have to teach them that. Yeah, you got to teach your kid how to be on, keep their head on the swivel at all times. You have to teach them that. Okay. Y'all, family. Thank you. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Also, make sure you guys follow me on my social media pages, which is at AfroElite on Instagram and at the AfroElite on Twitter. Please make sure you guys leave a like before you go. Please make sure you guys hit that subscribe button before you go. Like I said, we're only 300 away. We're only 300 away from 6,000 subscribers. That's a big deal. That's a very big deal. We can definitely get that. We can definitely get that before the rally, the expo. I mean, before the expo. But with that being said, my brothers and sisters, I will conclude this message. Please, we have to keep the story of Emmett Till the way it is. Okay, we're not gonna let no feminist, nobody switch the story up, say actually she was kind of a victim, actually it was just the husband and they put the blame off on her. No, she was fully guilty. Okay, even if she didn't know, she lied on the stand and protected her husband, so she's guilty in that sense. Even if she had nothing to do with it, she's guilty in that sense. She is fully guilty. Okay, and she deserved that in that sense too. We're not gonna let the preachers talk about forgive. Everybody gotta forgive. Come on, Mammy Till did not forgive a damn soul, so don't let nobody tell that lie. Okay, and we gotta teach our children to be cautious of this world that we live in. So, like the story of Emmett Till doesn't happen in modern times. With that being said, brothers and sisters, I bid you all a good night. I will catch you guys next time. Be one salute to every single last one of you all.